Yes, ladies and gentlemen, let the excitement just flow over you since I went shopping on Aliexpress. Aliexpress? Aliexpress. We're gonna go with Ally. Went shopping at Aliexpress and I bought a Nintendo Switch Pro controller. Although it doesn't say Nintendo on it, I guess. Pro controller for N-Switch. Nintendo. Nope, you know what? The only place where it actually says Nintendo, nowhere else by the way, is in the trademark information on the back, where it says Nintendo and Switch are registered trademarks of Nintendo Inc. and then made in China. But it doesn't say Nintendo anywhere else on it other than in the trademark information. I love buying from China. How much did I spend on this? $25. Wow. Okay. Spending $25 on AliExpress is like buying gold bars anywhere else. That's actually a lot of money to spend on that website. So now I'm actually kind of excited for what this controller can do. Now, I checked on the back, and I'm a little surprised with some of it because it says that it supports NFC amiibo support and everything. And this does not have that, so that's great. There's actually a really good written analysis of this as well. If you guys want to go check it out, Pixelpar did it as well. They sent me that and everything, and you can check that down below. But they did test amiibo support with this. I'm not big into amiibo, so I don't have that. But I was curious about the idea of amiibo support for something that is not first party, and that's not common. So there we are. Now you'll notice that the box is relatively damaged on this, and that was pretty much an event that I couldn't avoid. Guess I'll use scissors like a caveman. Oh yeah, it was actually in there. I'm serious when this gets clearly unavoidable. So let's open this thing up. It also says that it's compatible with, it has HD rumble. I'll believe that when I see it. And then motion controls. So cool. Motion control seems to work, so that's good. That actually seems to be less and less difficult to get done now since we saw that other third-party controller that I bought off of Amazon that also had motion controls. But the box, they actually try to at least replicate the Pro controller look, so that's good, I guess. It comes with instructions, and here's the best part. As you see, I knew this would happen because the other one did the same thing. You actually have to do some weird stuff to get this to sync, where you hold down extra buttons. For example, it says here you have to plug it in and then hold down two different buttons. Long press the home controller button and Y and trigger. There's a lot of stuff you have to do to get this thing to sync up. It's not like the other ones, obviously a first party one where you plug it in and that's kind of it. No, so we're going to take this apart. It does come with a USB Type-C charge cable, so that's kind of a bonus. I don't know how much I trust it since it seems to be just a no-name brand charge cable, since we've seen some USB-C issues at times. So let's take this Pro controller apart. First impressions very quickly. Sticks feel okay. A button's a little stiff. Y is a little, wow, Y is very sunken down. Like the Y button here, it seems like it's way lower than on the regular Pro controller. It's actually kind of mushy too. Plus and minus is way higher than the others. It's very clicky. And ZR and ZL do not feel right. They feel like they barely travel. They're very mushy. I'm noticing this right away. This R doesn't feel well either. Okay, so the top buttons don't feel good right away. Let's just put that out there now. These do not feel good. Sticks feel good. D-pad. Everyone was asking me about the D-pad. I can still press everything at once, so it's probably not much better than what we were dealing with before. And yeah, let's take this guy apart. They seem to be using the same shells though. On the bottom here, is standard stuff where you take it apart. It looks like it's using those cheapo screws though that you get in like Chinese knockoff things. They're very pointed on one end and they're very rounded at the top. I've noticed this with a lot of these. That just falls off. A lot of these like China knockoff things. You end up with these screws that are cheap, I guess. They're always the same. These screws are always the same. Same thing in that other controller we took apart that was for the Switch. Okay, so it's right away you can see it's not the correct rumble motors on the bottom here. You can already see that. It's not using the same technology that the HD Rumble uses. It's pretty much the same rumble we've had forever. It looks like the 360. Looks like the 360 motor, to be honest, that style rumble where it just spins, and because it's not weighted correctly, like it's not balanced, it creates like oscillation, and then it will start to rumble the controller. And it's not accurate. It's not HD Rumble is cool because it can control like where it's rumbling, how hard it rumbles. There's a lot of things it can do, and I know HD Rumble is a marketing term. Obviously, it's not really HD, but it's well controlled. And I would be shocked if the PlayStation 5 and the next Xbox controllers don't use them. I'd be shocked because I think they will. It's better technology, better on the battery, all that stuff. So yeah, let's get this back off though. I'm curious about the battery because it's basically just going to use the same type of battery. It's a 3.7 volt, 1300 milliamp hour battery. Makes sense. It's the 3DS batteries are a dime a dozen. They're very easy to get a hold of, so it's not shocking exactly. Yeah, everything else looks like it's definitely using the same shell, and I don't think the same shell is very difficult to get over there. So it seems like they wanted to use the same shell, but it looks like these boards are cheaper. I'm already looking into the board. The board already looks cheaper from what I can see here on the top where the triggers are and everything. They already look, I can already tell they're kind of cheaper. So it has the same type of ribbon connection to the front where on the regular Pro Controller, the official one, these are two boards that are broken apart. As we've seen, I've taken these things apart so many times now. And it's kind of done by ribbon cable. Same thing here. Although to get the same functionality out of these buttons, instead of using a single ribbon cable down the middle, because they actually have the traces there for it, so they're still using a similar board, they've just used straight wires to solder into it, and that's a much cheaper way to do it, to be honest. You know what? I think I might see why this one feels so bad. The actual... So there are bars that these sit on. It fell over, like it fell out. So, oh, this one, okay, this one fell out too. They're just falling out now. So this is good. They don't, okay, this is just falling off now. Yeah, so everything is just falling out of this now. This just falls right off too. You don't have this issue with the official one. They're built a bit differently to hold everything together on the front. This one is not, though. This one's not at all. Let's pull this guy off, though. A couple screws here, and this is going to come right off. Yeah, so the top buttons, that's why they don't feel that... They didn't feel good. And a lot of that had to do with how they had that kind of set up. Still very clicky. That might be why. These are different types of buttons, I believe, on the front for these guys. And that's why I felt they were raised higher. They felt clickier. It's different. These are definitely different. Are they better? Probably not. Battery life on this controller, the one from Aliexpress, is supposed to be 20 hours. Okay, that's what they say on the manual. But I don't know if I would trust that. Again, the joysticks feel good, and that makes a lot of sense. These actually are quality joysticks. They're not like joysticks now are pretty easy to make. It's more about the correct tension, like the tension of the sticks to get it the same feel. They did a pretty good job on this because there's not a lot of dead zone here. Like these sticks don't move that much, so they're very, very high in terms of tension. Okay, so they feel good. That's probably why when I first tried it, it felt correct. It's because they have a high tension on these sticks. So at least that feels good. The sticks do. Let's get further into this board. Here are the motors I was talking about. They do have these types of motors using that same kind of cheapo white cable. It's already starting to crimp on one side here. These are the standard motors. They're weighted they're kind of offset in terms of weighting, so they will rotate and pretty much start to oscillate, and that's how they move it around. But these are very inaccurate rumble motors. So they basically just rumble the whole thing. This is not HD rumble, okay? So it's promising HD rumble, does not have it. If we took apart that other one on Amazon, same idea. It's just using the 360, the Xbox One, PS4 style, where it's older. It's what we use these back on the PS2 and the GameCube, right? When those would rumble, that's what it was doing. It had like one of these in each like side, and it was just rumbling. Same thing, we've been using it for a while. Certainly not HD rumble. But everything else on this board looks okay. It's a very thick board. So the board itself is okay, but just everything else I've seen here, it's definitely not a quality product. I don't like these bumpers. The bumpers is one of the biggest issue. They don't feel right. The buttons, actually, like the ABXY, while one is sunken down further, the Y, A felt right. It's just, I think it was more so this rubber membrane, which is, it looks almost like it was like, it has like lines from like 3D print. I don't think it's like that, but it's this membrane feels kind of cheap, to be honest. It's not, it doesn't spring back well. You know how when you might press down a button on a controller and it sinks down and then it doesn't pop right back up very well? That's kind of how this membrane feels, to be honest. D-pad is probably, from what I've seen, exactly the same in terms of how good it is, but the D-pad, the way they have the design with the membrane and the position of it, I don't know if Nintendo will ever really fix it how we would like it to be. I would like more so to them focus on the Joy-Con. So that is the Aliexpress controller for the Nintendo Switch. I would not recommend buying it. It took me, what did this take about? It took about 3 weeks to get here. So it takes a while as well. And it was $25. That other controller that I showed you guys is also $25 on Amazon, and that took about a day and a half to get here. So might be better for you. Just be careful with these controllers. They look very, very similar, right? We kind of saw that. They look very similar to the normal Switch Pro controller. The way you could tell, obviously, you probably tell, there is no logo here, okay? There's zero logo on the front. That's really the only way you can really tell, because it uses the same shell, and the box looks kind of similar as well. It just also does not share that logo. And if you buy it on AliExpress for $25, it's probably not real. So let me know what you guys think about the fake Switch Pro controller. I would not recommend it, but if you've already bought it, let me know what you think about it down in the comments. And yeah, that's just another controller taken apart. I've taken apart so many Pro controllers now. And what's really interesting is I guess I could technically shell this, and you definitely wouldn't be able to tell a difference as well. Seriously, this is like the only thing that makes it any different. But thanks guys for watching. Make sure you like the video if you enjoyed it, dislike it if not, and I'll see you guys in the next video.